G'day campers and welcome to another Thursday Night Live. This week's a little bit different. We're bringing in some building expertise, and seeing as though we're in Melbourne, we better make sure that we've got all this worked out and covered up, because coming in from the building industry, we want to make sure we're nice and ready for work. So we'll just see how we go. I just hope the goggles don't fog up too much during this one, but we'll see how we go. Off with the mask, because we do need to talk. So welcome everyone, and welcome to a Thursday Night Live, talking with experts in the building industry. And tonight I'm very grateful we've got with us down in Tassie, Paul Purdo from the One Stop Shed Shop, who builds commercial and domestic sheds, and is a wealth of knowledge in the building industry. So welcome, Paul.
Thanks, mate.
Beautiful, thank you. I've got Mick Hawes, mastermind behind Builders Business Black Belt, also down there in Tassie. Welcome, Mick.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And in Melbourne, we've got Adam Wolfe, which I'm surprised you're not wearing your mask. Safety first.
I'm locked in the house.
Fair call, you don't go anywhere. So from Builders of Architecture, welcome, mate.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Nah, more than welcome. Well, the building industry, I'm very lucky to have spent 27 years in it, and it's an industry that I think is a fantastic industry and has a lot of ups and downs, but I think there's a hell of a lot of positives coming forward, and the three men in front of us today are big players in that, because they do things very differently, and their success of their business is because of that. So before we get into the full conversation, I've got a little disclaimer. We actually all met working with Mick through Builders Business Black Belt. Adam was in 2014, myself was 2015, and the relationships we've built have been because of it. And I think that's a big kudos to you, Mick, because you do a lot of personal development, not just business development, which for me has led us all to where we are. I'm sitting here today because of that. But what you do within the building industry is amazing, and we're going to talk about it tonight. So on that note, I've got a list of the 10 things that are listed by, I should have noted down, the insurance company that said are the biggest problems in the building industry. So I'm going to read them out, and then we'll tackle a couple of them and see how we go. Number 1, lack of skilled workers. Number 2, lack of communication. Number 3, unreliable subbies. Number 4, scheduling. Number 5, high insurance costs. Number 6, changing minds of homeowners. Number 7, available cash for the builders. Number 8, document management. Number 9, the blame game. Number 10, ever-changing regulations. There's one more I'd like to add to that, and the other one would be the elements, because the elements are the most unpredictable one that we come across, I feel, in the building industry. So with that in mind, I would like to start with the one thing that I feel you guys do better than anybody I know, and it's communication. I think the way in which you communicate with your customers, your staff, your team, it's just brilliant. So if it's all right tonight, I'd like to start with you, Mick. I'd like to talk to you about communication in the building game and why it is so important.
You're throwing to me now.
Absolutely.
I'm responding to that. I thought you were going to sort of introduce it and then hit me with a question, but I'm just going to go for it. Shoot from the hip.
Well, why is communication so important?
I think the first thing that people think about when you say communication, they're probably going to think about communication between the builder and the customer, perhaps the communication between the builder and his team or her team. I personally think the single most important area of communication that we try to help builders with is just the internal communication, like how they see themselves, how they see the problems. So you can have two people standing side by side, both viewing the same thing, and two people can have two very different interpretations of what they are seeing means. And so to me, it really begins there with that sort of internal communication. I think number 9 from memory was the blame game. I've memorised them all. I haven't really. I just remembered number 9, trying to impress you. And I think that the blame game is a product of not working on the internal communication. I think that when you start to work on your internal communication and start to choose the meaning of what you're seeing, whether it's, one person can call it a problem, so you're going to have a certain reaction to it. Another person can call it a challenge. They're going to have perhaps a better reaction to it. Another person can call it an opportunity, and they'll have a completely different response to that again. And to me, the single most important thing, if we were going to go for one thing that's going to change your business, is you standing guard at the entrance to your mind, because it will affect absolutely everything from finance to team to attracting clients to having great clients to having great solutions to problems. And like it makes the difference in every space. So that's where I'd start is the communication with yourself.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. And like you're talking about the way in which you see the problem. For me, I know that I use a problem. I call a problem an opportunity. Like you often hear me say it's an opportunity. Quite often that's a problem, but there's an opportunity to see it differently. So for that, I'm very grateful.
It comes down to the label that you choose to label that thing, that situation, and I can't remember who said it, but somebody very intelligent said that, there are no problems, just opportunities brilliantly disguised. And I absolutely believe that. And in most conversations with people, they'll say, we've got this problem, and I don't even hear the word. It's like bang, the radar goes up looking for the opportunity. And it's that took time to develop. It takes time and like hitting a good golf shot practice, I expect.
I understand that, because golf is the most frustrating game in the world.
Does often spoil a good walk.
So I'm going to throw over to you, Mr. Purdo, if that's okay, because your communication, and thank you, Mick, your communication with your clients is exemplary. I know of many circumstances we've talked about over the years that you're going in there and with love in your heart, actually resolving things that just most people wouldn't even bother talking about. So would you mind sharing with us the importance of communication with your clients?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Happy to do that. I think just moving on from where Mick left off, certainly communication within ourselves is definitely the first place. And then, of course, in our business, the communication and understanding of each team member. My team know that the most single important person to me in my business is the team. And so we've spent a lot of time developing our team and team members to be able to follow our core values. And a couple of those that are relevant in this conversation now are certainly empathy with our customer, and certainly working together as a team. And it's all about communication and making sure that, we go out of our way to do something that little bit extra, for our customers. So, the many examples I guess I can come up with, but I think in basic form, it's just listening to what our customers are really saying, understanding their needs, and then making sure that we deliver a great product, but most importantly, communicating along the process, right from the start right through to the completion of that. And that all comes from the training of our team and making sure that they understand the reasons behind why we need to continue to communicate with them and to listen to them and deliver that service.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, there's something that I think you're also exemplary at, is the win-win scenario. and I've seen you implement it on several occasions where you've gone out to a job and things haven't gone right, and you've found win-win situations. I know that can be difficult, but would you like to share with us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure, mate. As Mick was alluding to earlier, about people's perception of one situation, how I look at something is completely different to how the customer is actually feeling about, whatever it is that's gone wrong. And it may be a third person who gets involved, maybe the team member that's probably been involved in whatever that issue is. He or she has another interpretation of the situation. At the end of the day, it's about, for me, trying to understand everybody's point of view and making sure that, that the solution is not about pointing out somebody's inefficiency on the job. It's not a witch hunt against personalities. It's about understanding the situation and just look at a way that we can work towards a solution that is a great solution for the customer, great solution for the business, and also for the team member that may have been involved in in creating whatever the drama may have been. So the win for the business is a reputation of sticking to the task at hand until the job's completed to the customer's satisfaction. So that's our win, seeing the customer happy, having them rave about us. The win for me, for the team member in this situation, is letting he or she understand that this is not a personal vendetta. This is about understanding what may have been the cause of the issue in the first place, how we rectify that so it doesn't happen in the beginning. And of course, the customer, well, they're smiling because they have somebody that actually has listened to them, understands from their point of view what the problem is, get it resolved, and then we move on.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it, because at the end of the day, the experience is everything. And the experience you provide for your clients is something that I truly hope a lot of people get to see and witness. Talking of which, sorry, go.
Yeah, well, the really cool thing about it is it's not really hard to do. Yeah. You just have to, someone has to be prepared to go through that process, and it's just listening and understanding and have a willingness to, let's get this stuff sorted. So there's no magic behind it. It's quite simple once you understand, the philosophy behind it all.
Yeah. No, brilliant. And it's literally looking for that win, isn't it? That's the basic philosophy, look for a win. So now, Adam, thank you, Paul. Now, Adam, yesterday we had a conversation, and one of the things that I think, only my personal opinion, but the way in which you communicate with your team is phenomenal. They buy in, and we're talking about experience, and your experience of completion on projects is, if you haven't listened to the interview, listen to the interview and the way Adam does it. But communication inside your business, share with us.
Well, I mean, it's everything. I think the list, the 10 items you had on your list there, if you don't have good communication, they're all going to fail. So, I mean, like, communication is obviously, our words, but it's also our drawings. It's everything that we do. We need good quality communication. And then you've got all different personalities and people trying to interpret and understand that. And if you're not creating an environment where people can, build themselves up, so they're finding ways to gain confidence so that they can make decisions based on growth and, evolving through that, then they're not going to be able to make, they're not going to have good communication with people. It's going to be impossible. And when you're dealing with architects, when you're dealing with other team members, particularly trade-based environments, everyone's sort of doesn't want to be seen to be not knowing. So there's a level of ego there. So we create an environment where they use a system to provide questions to the required items that enable confidence, that then provide them the ability to communicate effectively to get the right answers. And we involve them too. We involve them in everything. We are motivated that they can contribute in a way that, when challenged a little bit, you're going to grow. And as you grow, you're going to understand, and as you understand, you're going to communicate better. And so I think it really does start with, I'm going to say me. Obviously, if I'm not able to produce high quality communication and speak to my team under circumstances like COVID-19, is a really good example of everyone's hysteria and then coming at it with what an opportunity. You know, we've been forced to cut hours in our week from travel. We're reprogramming the jobs better than we ever have. And all of a sudden the team go from, oh, this is treacherous and all these sort of dramas to, wow, I've got all this extra time and I can do this. And then they start spreading that. And so it's very powerful.
Yeah, and it is. Like the communication, the one thing I picked up there that I think a lot of people don't understand is the fact that communication isn't just verbal. It's every part of your business, whether it's you're sitting down putting up schedules, whether you've got plans, you know, every part of it, even stock supplies, it's part of communication. So, yeah, that's a great point, Adam. I really appreciate that. So, thank you for putting that in. I'm going to start with what you guys see in the building industry as a problem. What's the biggest problem you guys see in the industry today? So I'm actually going to start with you, Adam, because you got the biggest smile on your face.
There is no problem, Scotty. There's only opportunities.
Thank you very much. Hey, thank you very much. That's what we're after.
Oh, look, you know, I mean, I would respond to that and say that anyone out there thinking the building industry's got problems, we're considered essential and everything's being done to keep us going. So be proud. I'm incredibly proud to be a builder. And, you know, Mick would know at times early on, I would say, you know, have I picked the wrong industry? You know, like this is a tough gig, you know, but then you think about all these businesses that you didn't expect to be in the situation they're in, and we're still going. So every business has problems or challenges, opportunities, but if I was to highlight something that I feel like is it needs a shake-up, it's the very, very limited amount of information out there for someone to understand the process. It's very challenging to know where to start, and where they generally start is the wrong place because they're getting information. I wouldn't say generally, I would say always, because they're getting information from people that aren't building it. And so they're guided by professionals for, I would say, quite a long time, up to 3 years, that are basing it on what their profession is and not the builder's profession. So I think that if you want to talk about communication in there, it's very difficult to communicate effectively if you don't do the job. And so I think that it needs a real shake-up in terms of trusting builders and having confidence in builders, architects, and the professionals that are engaged to work as a team at the beginning so that the client experience is, as it should be, incredibly high leveled, you know?
Yeah. You do that so well. And I'm going to say it one more time, but get to know what Adam does, because the way in which he engages the architect and they all work together, everybody's happy. The client owns the job. It comes back beautifully. The tradies come back and take ownership of the job. You're there with the family and neighbours. How often on building sites are the neighbours pissed off because things have gone wrong, you've done things? All the neighbours on your projects come in to see the end product. Like, you can't get a bigger win than that. So, like, I keep tipping my hat off to you, and there's a reason for that, Adam. So that's good.
Thanks.
Over to you, Paul. Same question. What's the biggest opportunity you see in the building industry?
I see the biggest opportunity for change will be the way that all the councils operate, I think, in terms of speed of getting jobs through their system and approved. we've seen it for many years, of course, in the building industry, where these public servants have attempted to make changes and positive change, but where we are here in Tassie, it hasn't worked. It's just got a longer, more protracted bloody process, and it's caused a lot of grief, a lot of cost. And one of the experiences I've had recently is that I gave my first blood donation last week, and I was so impressed with the blood bank and their communication, registering me, keeping me informed, and then taking me through the whole process of on the day, and so impressed, in fact, that all government departments, in fact, I think, should take a leaf out of their book and how they operate their business. I didn't realise till today that the blood bank was privately owned, and what a shame that the government departments can't get a hold of their internal process and systems and communications. Look, I've drifted off a bit here, but look, seriously, we've got long-winded approach to what we do, which are Class 10 buildings, sheds. A lot of people think, well, they're only sheds. I'm a bit passionate, and so if somebody says that to me, I get a bit upset. But I think that we're governed under the same processes as Adam is with his beautiful architectural houses, and we are sort of hamstrung a bit there. So the opportunity that's come out of that is that maybe someone out there can actually shake the public service up and give it a good flush out, perhaps. Now, I've been thinking about that for the last 40 years, and there's no one I know that actually is game enough to have a crack at that, and it's certainly not going to be me. But so that's as much as I'd like to think it was an opportunity. It's an opportunity for someone, but not for me. But it's a real big problem, I see.
Yeah, look, I mean, getting paperwork done inside the building industry has always been an opportunity, because it takes a fair bit of work to get that done. It adds a lot of costs, and the person who pays for that's the customer. So,
correct.
Yeah. Mick, what do you see? And thank you, Paul. Sorry, I should thank you. Mick, what do you see is the biggest opportunity in the building industry?
I'm going to go back to what I said initially about internal communication, because there are like you said, we're going to read out a list of 10 problems with the building industry, and my first response was short list. Yeah, it's a shit fight, and there's very, very low trust between customer and builder, and you can play the blame game and blame the customer and say they need to trust the builder and they need to change their approach. It's never going to work that way. What has to happen is, through behaviour, the builders need to change how they do things. So one of the things that I jump up and down about all of the time is that builders should be paid for their quotes. And at the sort of first initial level of that, people will go, we should, because it's we put our time and our experience into it, and we should be remunerated for it. That's level one. I think the main reason I would love to see free eliminated is that the first thing it has to do for a builder to be able to present an opportunity to a prospect for them to pay for something previously they got for free is the builder has to learn how to identify what represents value to their customer or their prospect. And a lot of builders have heard me on the Facebook or whatever talking about charging for quotes, and many of them, they say, well, I've done that and I was told to piss off. It's like, yes, but the reason for that is it's like you've walked into your favourite restaurant that you've been eating at for years and they've just put the prices up. Well, of course you'd be annoyed. But if the maitre d' came up and said, Scott, so glad you're here, we've got some exciting news. The chef has been going crazy sourcing all of these great flavoured organic ingredients. We've completely rewritten the menu. It's an amazing experience. We've done all of this stuff with wine selection and so forth. I can't wait till you sit down and enjoy this new experience. And you do, and you open up the menu and it's 20% dearer than it used to be, and you do not give a toss. And that's the difference. But what you need to do before you can do that 20% on top of the previous prices is you need to find out what represents value from the customer's perspective, and telling them what they need to know isn't the answer. It's asking questions so they discover this new process, the opportunity. And to me, in the way that we talk to all of our guys about the reason that you put a paid proposal together rather than doing a free one is if you are being paid for it, you better do a good job. You better be accurate. You better consider everything. And you're presenting fundamentally an insurance policy for your client so they don't fall into the trap of the surprise of variations. And we didn't consider this, and we only had a PC item price of $300 for that, but you wanted the $3,000 version. And it just turns to custard and they have a really bad experience. That's how it happens almost all of the time. But I think where Adam was going with what he was saying as well, that people don't know where to start, so they inevitably start at the wrong place, and they start with the design, generally with somebody who has no business mentioning how much something costs. They just have no business doing it. So what you need to be doing is engaging a builder, figuring out which builder you've got a connection with so you can be open, transparent, and have high levels of trust. Then go and join up with a building designer or an architect or whatever to start the design process. But it's a group effort to make sure that this thing will get built, because something like 75% of projects that design never get built. Because they design it first, they fall in love with it, they take it to the builder, they've got a budget of $500,000, and the builder comes back and says, well, it's close, it's a bit over 1.2, but I think we can make it happen. And they just freak out, and it's all too hard, their dream's been ripped away, the builder's the boogeyman, and it's just totally unfair, and the project doesn't get built, so everybody loses. So the builders need to start to understand what the fears, frustrations, wants and aspirations are of their ideal client, and set their business up, their processes up, their communication up, their delivery up to meet all of those things. And then it's happy days. The builder has a great business. The team love it. The customer loves it. Everyone involved loves it. But guess where it all starts? It starts right there in the builder's mind. It's not out there. It's in here.
And that's
I'll just have a little lie down now.
Oh, I love it, but it's passionate. You're involved in this. You're working with people, i.e. me, came to you. So someone's echoing. So is that you, Mick? Sorry, that might be me.
It could be just.
Could be me. So I came to you and I was in a world of pain. The majority of people that come to you are in a world of pain. And you see it and you get people through it. And I commend you for that. But the passion you have is because of the pain you see. And it's avoidable if you can work with people, you know. And so I'm going to jump over to Paul right now. I'm going to ask a question that all three of you guys are heavily involved in. And that's within groups of communication about building. i.e. you've got Facebook pages where you sit and you openly share and talk about the situations. How much strength does that give you, Paul?
You don't fully understand that question, mate, but I'll have a crack at that for you.
Okay, so I'll get better one day.
Can you draw me a picture?
You're involved in Facebook groups where you talk about all opportunities in the building industry. How much strength does that give you being inside those groups?
Okay, you definitely understand where you're coming from now. Look, yes, definitely involved with Mick's Builders Business Black Belt group or Facebook group, and you know there's a good many members there, and every one of them are at different levels of growing their business. The really cool thing is that they are all exceptional people, and they're all so excited about learning from each other as well as from Mick, how to grow their businesses and how to be better people. And the really fun thing is having conversations with them on an hourly basis, daily basis, or whenever someone has a question that they put up, within a few minutes there's an answer. So if somebody's having difficulty with, it might be a structural, structural issue on site, could be a client issue, could be, a business related issue, doesn't matter what it is. Someone will post that, and within minutes there's 1, 2, 5, or even 10, replies of, yes, that happened to me and this is how I dealt with it. So that it's a really powerful network of people that share and actually care about each other and want to help each other move forward. Really good place to be.
Yeah, brilliant. Adam, thank you, Paul. Your experiences with sharing your knowledge and the strength that it's given you.
Oh, well, I think that the best thing about sharing your knowledge is more so having a community of people that are sharing knowledges is that they're all experiencing different things at different times. And so you're going to find that something you have not done, someone else has done. And something you might have done, someone else has done differently. Or something you feel overwhelmed by isn't as big a deal, or someone's got a document that you need that you might that might be helpful. I mean, even just COVID-19, the groups that I'm in, everyone was just sharing policies, and everyone thinks it was such a monster task to get them all written. Everyone wrote them and everyone shared them. It was done very quickly. But yeah, a lot of the groups that I'm in are business, and we're talking about building here, but the business is separate to the building, right? The business has got its own vehicle, and so just the business knowledge, constantly evolving. I think that the best thing about communities is you're able to hang out with like-minded people that are trying to travel the same path.
There's a lot of power in that.
Oh, it's incredible. I think I am very conscious of it, and also very proactive in the groups that I am involved in, and that is, I think, essential to getting value from them. Like, a lot of people are in them and they don't do much, and they don't get the same value as the people that contribute. And I think that it's an important part to, we used to, I'm sure Mick still has it, but the old swipe and deploy. It was a pretty powerful thing, and everyone had access to files and could just take whatever they needed and drop whatever they needed in there. And it's the technology and the social medias have made that much, much easier.
Brilliant, thank you. And Mick, your vision on these, because you're the place where I learned about getting involved in communities. And but just before we move forward, I just want to say a quick thing to Adam about involvement inside the community. I really want to thank you for saying that, because when you're in the community, the more you put in, the more you actually get out. So thank you for bringing that up. Mick, would you like to share your experience with this?
I think it's really important to pick and choose your community. Everyone's in one. Everyone's in a group. Many people might be in a group of one, which is the worst group to be in, because you've only got your own thoughts on your thoughts, and like you can get at some pretty crazy, dark places. So, that's the worst group is the single one. The next one is a group of people who are just supporting each other in their misery. That they all just, the only thing that they're contributing and offering is proof that there are so many problems. Everything out there needs to change, and they just sort of support each other in that negativity. So I wouldn't join that group either. I'd join groups like Adam and Paul were talking about, where you don't necessarily need to be. Paul's left. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. We'll talk about it while he's not here. You don't necessarily like people say you're in the wrong group if you're the smartest guy in the group. I think you're probably only the smartest guy in the group in some instances. I know the groups that I belong to, and even chatting with our black belt members on a daily basis, and we do that now on a daily basis since COVID started. We have a 1 hour momentum call every day of the week. And today it went for 1 hour and 15. Like it got a bit of pace up, and it just kept going. And the thing about that, so there's two things about that everyone's sharing their wins and lessons every day. So the momentum and the speed of the improvement and of the avoidance of problems is really increasing all of the time. So their progress is speeding up. But the other thing is that they are these guys, and it's the same guys that show up pretty much every day, and they'll spend at least an hour, sometimes a little bit more every day. And you speak to most builders, and what are they going to say? I haven't got an hour to do that. I haven't got time to do that. I'm out there bloody, trying to chop the tree down with a hammer. It's like they wonder why they're getting worn out, because they need a really, really sharp chainsaw instead of a hammer. How do you get that? Well, you hang around with the right people, you share ideas and so forth. So you've got to be in a community, and you need to lead from the front and do exactly what Adam Wolfe said and be a contributor. Because if you imagine we're all standing around your campfire behind you there, Scott, and there's 20 people standing around in a circle, and everyone's looking at me for solutions, and they ask a question and I hand out the solution, everyone gets one solution. But if everyone brings a solution to the campfire, everyone walks away with 20 solutions. So join a group, but join a group for what you can contribute to it, not what you can learn from it. What you can learn from it is going to be the sort of benefit of being in the group. But the only time it works is if everyone is there to contribute. And it's wonderful to watch. And like Adam says, I can't believe what sometimes happens in our group at Black Belt. And I think it happened ages and ages ago, and you were probably there, Adam, when I think Cara, these are obviously people won't know, but Cara and Andrea were in the same group. And maybe you were there, I can't remember, Adam, but Andrea just said, look, I really need this thing. I think it was like a colour selection process or something. And Cara just said, well, I've got one of those. It just so happens that it took Cara 2 years to build this system and build all of the paperwork and checklists and everything for it, handed it over to Andrea and said, here, you can have that. You just put your logo on it. No worries. They only met that lady that day. Like, it was the first day they met, and that happened. And they're the sort of groups you need to join. You need to join the ones where people just go, because you're in the group, I've got you.
And that is
so join a group,
important.
Folks.
Yeah, beautiful. Great advice. I'm a bit stoked for words at the minute, because, like, I know myself, from starting with you, Mick, you gave me an opportunity in life to see things very differently. And I am here today doing what I'm doing now because of that, and it was a very different road that my partner took, and I love him with all my heart. And I just know the support of the groups because I got involved in those groups. I know and it's not just here, the support of the Campfire Project. I'm consistently involved in groups, Sunday sessions. There's a couple of others at the moment that I'm trying to to the best I can to get involved in, because I want to give. Because when you give, hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the promo.
Hey, Scotty, I would like to just say that I've been, I've been in coaching. I've done all of these different coaching environments, and I would comment that all of the tools that I have are from other people, from groups. Every tool that I look at has come from people in groups, because the people that are doing the work in the business are the ones that are building the tools for their specific business. So if you're involved in that environment, it's I look across everything that we do, and I would be able to say where it came from.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's the power of unity, isn't it? We together. It's, excuse me, the Campfire Project for me, and like talking about it because we're on it. We're having discussions about builders, what they want, what they do. We had discussions about, does size matter? We talked about, menstruation, so that we can all grow. And it's that community that we just continually talk and we learn from each other that just gives it such strength. So, Adam, are you still using Profit First?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then in that case, then I'll like to talk about it, because there will be builders watching this, and it's coming into a difficult time. Now, I myself went through a difficult time there, and if I did not have that in place, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did and try to do the best I could with what we had. So I'm going to ask you, Paul, if that's okay, the importance of Profit First. Profit First is, how would you describe it, Mick, an accounting system?
No.
How would you mind explaining it then, if that's okay?
Yeah, it's the main thing about it. It is a way to accurately identify your current financial position, the reality of the current financial position. It does not replace your accounting system. It doesn't even enhance your accounting system. It just changes the way that you see your financial position. And because you see it, the reality of it, and by the way, your profit and loss statement does not reflect the reality of your financial position. So you use the Profit First system so you know exactly what's going on, and it just messes with your head in a really good way and causes you to make really smart decisions naturally. There's no discipline involved. If you're following the process, the correct financial decisions are natural. And why most builders get into financial trouble is the way that they believe that their financial position is at the moment causes them to make decisions that they find out are wrong down the track. This changes people's lives.
Absolutely. And, it tracks the performance of your business in real time.
Paul, microphone?
Yeah, he's on. He's on. I'm hearing him.
You can hear him? I can't. So we're just going to...
You probably can't hear him over that roaring fire.
Can you hear the fire?
No.
So I should have had it on in the background. I'm going to... Give me a sec. I'm going to try... we're going to try... Just let us know if you're watching whether or not you can hear Paul, because I think that...
We can hear Paul when he's unmuted.
All right, we'll just see how we go. So, Paul, if you could give us your experience with Profit First, because I know it's been a big part. Now, I can't hear you at all, Paul, so I'm going to rely on the guys to let me know what goes on from there, if that's all right.
Yeah, cool.
So, Adam, we just have to have a really shocked look on our face with everything he said.
Oh, my God. Really, Paul? Yeah. So what I was saying before is that, it allows you to track your business in real time. So rather than, obviously, all the traditional accountants are, for my best guess, are just historians and nothing more than that, really. And so Profit First enables you to track the performance of your business on a day-by-day basis. Part of its set up is that we have many accounts for different areas of the business, including wages, the ATO, and day-to-day running expenses. We've got a marketing account and several other accounts separated, and each payment that we get in, there's a percentage of each of those goes into the different accounts. So we've always got money for the wages, always got money for the ATO when it's due. But the most important account of all is the one called the net profit account. So traditionally, our accountants will let us know at the end of the year the amount of net profit that the company's made or the business has made. And of course, when you ask where is it, the accountant can't tell you because it's not in the bank. So this is forces your hand to be able to not only save for your net profit. So I guess what I'm trying to do is dumb it down so it doesn't become a long protracted explanation. So net profit account, we put so much in per week, and it can be a percentage of your turnover, and then once a quarter we divvy up the net profit, and we keep half for ourselves. We reward ourselves. We do whatever we want with it, maybe other investments or whatever, pay down debt, for example. But that's the single most important one as far as I'm concerned, and it's an absolutely brilliant way of operating a business.
Mick, you're going to have to come in for me.
Yeah. Paul just spoke a whole lot of rubbish then. You didn't miss much.
No, I don't know what he was calling me, but I'm sure it wasn't polite.
It was great. It was a very, very easy to understand explanation of the purpose and functionality of Profit First. And it was coincidence that we interviewed old mate Mike McAllowitz, I think, last week for our podcast, and we were just editing it today, and I had to record a bunch of bits and pieces for that podcast, and I was talking to him about his new book called Fix This Next. And the purpose of the interview was to talk about the book Fix This Next. I think we spent about 3 minutes on that, and then guess what we spoke about for the rest of the time? It was just Profit First, because it is the single most important business tool that I've found in 30 years of business. So I'm not saying that I think that the single most important thing for success is standing guard at the entrance of your mind and that sort of stuff. But as far as a tool that has processes, I think you can't go past Profit First, because it doesn't matter. Like one of the things that we talked about, and I'd love you to watch the podcast when it comes out, because Mike McAllowitz is a funny dude. And we had this conversation about turnover, the turnover myth that build business owners in general, but builders, they think that the answer to more profit is increased turnover. I have conversations every day with new builders. They ring me up. I say, how can I help you? I need more leads. Why do you need more leads? We need more work. Why do you need more work? Because I want to make more profit. And the myth is that the only things that go up with most builders' flawed business models as turnover goes up is stress, costs, and time required to run the business. So as turnover goes up, those three things go up. And guess what? The only thing that goes down is profit. And so it doesn't matter where you are today. Get Profit First, implement it, learn how to manage the amounts, the money when the amounts are small. And then as they get bigger, the decisions are made automatically, and they're the right decisions. The trouble is, if you're trying to make the right decisions without this system, and there's a lot of money involved, you have a skewed view of things. You get influenced by the amounts. And it pans out the percentage of people who win a lot of money in the lottery, like the biggest percentage, almost all of them who win a big payout in a lottery are far worse off financially 5 years after they've won that amount of money. So we've got to figure out how to do this. So if you've got a small building business, implement profit first, and your profit for that 2 weeks might be $10. Give yourself a high five and move on. That's the best thing you could have done, you know. And the biggest mistake you could have made is going, it's only $10. I won't worry.
Yeah, well, I think profit first can be applied to all parts of your life. I just,
100%.
you know, it doesn't matter what building, what industry you're in. Profit first is a phenomenal thing. It doesn't matter if you implement it into your own personal life. I know the difference it's made to me. I'm getting by, you know, on a little bit. I've got that there. I've just got that bit that I know that I've got to fall back. And you know, sometimes it's crap. You have to dive into it, but you know, as long as you make sure you keep implementing it, it just keeps going good. So, Paul,
I really like the. I think profit first needs to be applied to the business, and part of what profit first gives you is the owner's compensation. So your pay. Once you've got that, what I would suggest for mindset and direction is actually the barefoot investor. I really like the profit first is really more about business, and the barefoot investor is really how to manage your own money significantly better.
Okay. Yep, beautiful. Paul, can I just ask you for a sec to log out and then log back in, if that's okay? Do you mind?
He's already done that once.
It helps me if I can hear. So, one of the things that's going to be a big player at the minute is the finances, and that's why I brought that up, because it's one of those things that really makes a big difference. So, hey mate, how are you?
I'm good, mate.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's life. Things go right, some things don't. But, you know, I know you've got some liquid gold to talk about. That's why I'm happy to sit back. So, Adam, would you like to share some wealth on that conversation, please?
I think the thing about profit first is that it's about taking the profit first. And I think that it's the mindset out there is exactly what's been discussed already, that you're looking at ways to make profit, but you don't actually end up seeing it because it's just on your P&L. And I mean, anyone in business can vouch for that because it's the way it's done. And we've definitely struggled with profit first too, though. Like I think every business does, and it's an evolution. You're constantly evolving. You know, as we've evolved our business, having different architects and payment structures and progress claims, and you know, scrutiny on progress certificates, things like that. You're always looking at ways to evolve the way you do it. One of the biggest tips that I've had more recently around some of the things in profit first is why keep your PAYG and your these sorts of things that aren't your money to the end of a quarter. If you pay the wages, pay the PAYG and the super at the same time. And these are some of the lessons that I've really taken on board because it's such a smaller amount of money at that time than it is when it gets to the end of the quarter. And what we've been working towards is profit first for a home. So rather than having it across the business because it's such a big amount of money, we're not able to determine, you know, what out of that operating expenses account is for what job, and whether one job might be dragging its feet because production's slowing, so that because you've got lower income on it and you're not able to cover all the bills on that job, you can see that in that account So then you're putting more emphasis on production on that side. And it's providing you a far more greater clarity on the financial position of that home. Because often, particularly in the contracts that we run with architects, the profits are really only showing up at the end of the job. And so you've got to manage it very carefully. I've actually been reading this one, which is very interesting. It's a official supplement for Profit First Guide for Tradies, and in there it talks about the building business and Profit First. And I've actually heard Mike McAllowitz talk about this a lot around the difference for a builder in using the system, because you're setting up transfers on the 10th and the 25th of the month, and that's not necessarily going to work with your progress claims and the way your business is structured. So, look, if I was to stand here and say we were doing it perfectly, I'd be lying. You know, we haven't been able to put a lot of profit into an account, so we look at 1%, just something. Really focus on a little bit. And it's about the money going into the buckets. It's about distributing the money into the buckets and making sure that you're aware of, you're not piling a big bulk amount of money and thinking, oh, I've got 300 grand in the bank, because you certainly don't. So yeah, I mean, I actually, support Mick's comments around Barefoot Investor, because I've implemented that into my life for the last 3.5 years, and it's incredible. I mean, yeah.
I'd just like to echo what Adam said about Profit First. It's not ideal for a builder. It needs to be modified. We're fortunate that a few years ago, I was actually up in Melbourne and I had dinner with Mike McAllowitz, and I said, we want a Profit First professional to hook up with, so our guys can have an accountant that understands and believes in Profit First, because most accountants don't like Profit First. They'll disagree that you have to have these bank accounts and say you can do it all with your accounting packages and all that sort of stuff. And my response to that is like Dr. Phil's response to most things is, how's that working out for you? And you ask most builders, they're not doing too terribly well financially, so they need to do something different. So that the modifications that we're making with our Profit First professional who talks to all of our guys is what Adam is saying, is look at every job as a profit center. And he is suggesting that you actually have the profit account, the income account and the expense account for each job. So like if you've got 10 jobs, you've got 30 extra bank accounts. Accountants will be pulling their hair out talking about that. But our guy, like he explained it really, really well. By doing that, it does exactly what Adam says. It causes you to focus on the efficiency of that project, because too many builders will get in trouble because they have a poorly performing project and a well-performing project is propping that one up, and they're not looking at fixing the problems. And so it keeps going around and around and around. They wonder why they're not making any money, because the job that is going well is paying for the job that's going down the toilet. And that needs to be addressed, and having a way to measure the profitability of each individual project is absolutely the way to go. The second thing is, Adam mentioned, sometimes you don't get the profit till the end. And we've figured out a process where you can predict where your project payments are coming, and you can identify what's got to go out after that project payment. So you might say, okay, we want a 15% net profit at the end of this project. And let's say, for argument's sake, you've got 4 progress payments. The first one might not be 15%. The first one might be 5%, but then the second one might be 17%. And then and it all works out to be 15% at the end, but you work it out so you can still trade and still pay the bills as you're going along, but not giving away your profit. And I think most builders come unstuck because they use the good old hope strategy. I hope. And if you ask a builder what is profit? They'll say it's the bit that's left over.
Yeah.
And Adam Wolfe said, profit, the best thing about profit first is you take your profit first.
Yeah.
that is the best bit about it. And so, you've got to have that complete mind shift. And I cannot recommend it highly enough. It does need modification. And like, if you need to answer any questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer those questions. I'm fairly easy to find on Facebook or whatever, and I can help you out with those questions. But it's a game changer. One of the things that really, really grinds my gears and why I do what I do is because it's not about the building business being successful that drives me. It's about the way that most building businesses work. It robs the builder of their life. They get sucked into this machine. They don't get to see their kids grow up. They don't have a great relationship with their missus, all of that sort of stuff. They don't look after their health because they're all stressed out. None of that is necessary. None of it. It can all be fixed. All we need to do is think a little different and do things a little different. Watch shows like this, get in groups with people like this, and things can change really, really quickly. I know I'm hogging the microphone here, but I just need to tell you that. Like, we've got a little 12-week program, and I was talking to some people that were in it after 6 weeks, and the guy he'd been in the building industry for 30 years and like super skeptical coming into this 12-week program. And because we give this, full money back guarantee, if it doesn't work at the end of it, you pay nothing. So he went, righto, I'll have a go. And he got onto one of our live Q&As a couple of weeks ago. He'd been in the program for 6 weeks. Said to me, there's no way that anyone will ever pay for a proposal. And everybody makes decisions based on price. This is what he's telling me. So I'll play your stupid game and join your program, but it's not going to work. 6 weeks in, he's got 3 paid proposals. He was the most expensive, and he got them all after 6 weeks. And he'd been doing this that way for 30 years. So don't tell me it doesn't work. Don't tell me it can't change. And don't tell me it can't change quickly. It'll change as quickly as you can change your thought process. I'm shutting up now.
No, I think that's great advice for life, though. That's not just within the building industry. It's great advice for life, because anything can change as quickly as you change your thought patterns. And it's about being around other people with different experiences that actually allows you to experience something differently, so that then you have a different opportunity to put forward.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Listen, we've gone well over just gone over the hour, and we can talk about this for a long time. And I really want to thank all 3 of you, because you are all passionate about the building industry. You are all passionate about seeing people do well. And I know from my experience that anybody can reach out to you at any point to ask a question. And I think that's really important. So if you sat and watched this today and you've liked something you've heard from somebody, get in contact with them. There's 3 very good men here from the building industry. On that, I would like to ask everybody, and I'm gutted I didn't hear Paul's last things. I knew it was gold because you 2 are sitting there listening intently. so
Adam and I were riveted.
So I'm going to have to watch the replay just to find out. I would like to ask all 3 of you for one bit of advice for a builder. And it can be at any stage of the life, but I just want one bit of advice. And I'm actually going to start with you, Adam, please.
I'll unmute myself. I feel like pinching Mick.
No, go for it. I'll pick another one.
I think that he's, I think that for like Scott, you could vouch for this. When I went into business, I was good at building homes. I was good at talking to clients. I had no idea how to run a business. I had no idea how big a deal it was, and I knew, when I got to the point where I was really interested in what Mick and Julie were telling me was because I didn't know what to do next. And when your mind opens up to this awareness and you start to explore these things and you realize that things like working 14-hour days are not going to help you. They're actually hindering you. And until you start to understand that the results that you're getting are because of the actions you're taking, and you've got to change those actions to get different results, that's when you start to realize that there's always going to be a million things to do. There's always going to be problems and challenges. And as you evolve and become better, you start to realize in here that it's just another thing that you just got to work through. And I mean, the sentiments that we said about people's lives, and we've got a vision in our business, changing lives by building dreams to transform our future. And the vision's born around our team and making sure that we're creating an environment for them to transform their lives. Because if their lives aren't being transformed in a positive way and in an environment where there's really good energy, then how do our customers experience that? And that's working on me, creating that environment. And I think it's a profound mindset shift to know how important it is to control yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Mick?
I'm going to pinch Adam's. Adam was just talking about vision. So some of the things that we've talked about, join the right groups, charge for quotes, find out about, your customers' fears, frustrations, wants and aspirations, do profit first. We've given a whole bunch of ideas of what to do. None of that is going to be worth a stamp if you don't do what Adam just said then and figure the hell out what you're doing this for. All your business is a platform, a system to provide you with a lifestyle a lifestyle of hopefully abundance. So some financial freedom, some choice time freedom to do the things you want to do, and more importantly, meaning, a purpose. And until and unless you understand what the hell you're doing this business for, instead of getting up like a bloody robot every day and doing the same crap over and over again, figure out what you're doing it for, because then you will go, what was that financial thing again? Profit first? What groups can I join? You'll start asking the questions and be motivated to do the stuff we've suggested. Until and unless you've got that clarity of that vision, we can stay here all night talking about what you need to do, but you won't do it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Paul Purdo, your one bit of advice for us, please.
There's nothing left to say.
All right.
Adam and Mick have taken all of the words.
But there are more words, Paul. There's more words.
So, there's a reason why I left. There's a reason why I left you to last, mate. Because I know what's in you.
There's no doubt in my mind that the best advice I could give anybody that's either wants to improve their business or starting out in the building industry is to seek out groups, especially like Mick's group, the Builders Business Black Belt, and join a group of people, like-minded people that can help you transform your life in a tenth of the time that those of us that battled along for many, many years until we did find somebody in a group. There is so many answers to questions, so much advice, so much knowledge out there, and I think that's probably the best advice that I could give anybody.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I think it's great advice, and thank you all three of you. I'm going to throw a little something on top of that. I think the best thing you can do is invest in you. We always find things to invest in, but if you invest it in yourself, and work on yourself, you create that energy that you're going to give to other people that will allow them to feel more comfortable within you, which gives you a better environment. That energy is contagious. So listen, guys, thank you so much for tonight. Look, we've scratched the surface of what is an amazing conversation, and I really hope that people do reach out to you, because if you're buying a house, it's just as important to know this information, because there are builders out there that do things differently, that do care about you. And I've never met somebody who thank you, Kyle. Never met somebody who's ever made the wrong decision in life. People always try to make the right decisions. Right decision right now is to invest in yourself. So, all right. Anyway, listen, thank you very much. Have an amazing night, everybody. I'm off for the hard hat and back to my normal self next week. I've taken it off after 27 years, so it's been interesting. So thank you, everybody that watched. And look, I look forward to listening to the replay so I can hear what Paul said. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Have an amazing night. Thanks, Mick. Thanks, Adam. And thank you again, Paul.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Cheers, Scotty.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you all very soon. Cheers.